After the Ottoman Empire fell, the Sykes-Picot Agreement was secretly drafted by France and Great Britain. This plan plotted to divide the Ottoman lands between the two powers, setting the stage for future conflicts in the region. But this plan clashed with the McMahon-Hussein Correspondence, which promised the Arabs a pan-Arab nation if they helped take down the Ottomans. Two contradictory agreements crumbling hopes for many, don't you think?
Absolutely, and if we look at the Paris Peace Conference of 1919, we see the strong push by Zionist leaders like Chaim Weizmann. They wanted to create a Jewish homeland in what is now Israel, part of Jordan, and beyond. These plans, however, saw no Arab figures at the discussions, totally sidelining Palestinian voices. This absence planted seeds of discontent early on, as locals felt their rights slipping away.
Yes. While these international agreements were being debated behind closed doors, on-the-ground realities became grimmer. The Zionists didn't see their movement as a colonial effort. Rather, they felt it was a return to their ancestral home. But this nuanced view didn't translate well to the existing communities in Palestine, whose daily lives were changing rapidly with new neighbors and the looming threat of dispossession.
And let's not forget the support they had. The British government particularly played a huge role in this transition. Imagine receiving a letter that offered the backing you needed to make a homeland dream a reality. This happened in 1917 when Arthur Balfour declared British support for a Jewish state. It set a tone that would ensure these changes stayed and grew deeper over time, marking the beginning of a long and challenging journey for both Palestinians and Jews.
So, picking up from where we left off, let's delve into the Balfour Declaration of 1917. This was a critical moment. Imagine this. Britain officially declares its support for a Jewish state in Palestine. Such a bold step was fueled by its geopolitical interests, particularly its desire for control in the Middle East. The Suez Canal was crucial for their empire, and aligning with the Zionists seemed strategic. By backing a Jewish homeland, they ensured a friendly presence in the region.
True, and this declaration was not just about ideology. It had practical implications. The resultant British mandate over Palestine turned the region into a center of tension. Territories under the mandate included what we now understand as Israel, the West Bank, and Gaza. This control meant the British had to balance between supporting Zionist aspirations and managing the local Arab population, which was growing more uneasy. As tensions rose, the local communities saw increasing instances of land dispossession and civil unrest.
Yes, exactly. The Balfour Declaration planted seeds of discord. The Jewish community, spurred by this support, began to immigrate in larger numbers, purchasing lands with newfound confidence. For them, this was a meaningful return to their ancient homeland. Yet for the Arab residents, these arrivals sparked fear and frustration over losing their homes and livelihoods. They started to feel like outsiders in places they had lived for generations, which only added fuel to a smoldering fire.
And the situation became even more complex as both Jewish and Arab communities nurtured national aspirations that kept stumbling into each other. The British found themselves in a difficult position, having promised much to both sides, but unable to deliver solutions satisfying everyone. This marked the beginnings of a conflict that extended far beyond these initial years, leading to episodes of violence and demands for presence and recognition by both communities.
As we move forward, the impact of the Balfour Declaration in 1917 cannot be overstated. This British statement fueled the movement of Jewish people into Palestine, driven by the hope of establishing a homeland. Yet, this increased immigration worried many Arabs in the region. They feared they would lose their land and homes. This fear wasn't purely about losing property, it was about losing a part of themselves, a part of their identity and heritage.
Indeed, this situation set the stage for heightened tensions. By 1936, the Arab revolt erupted, reflecting deep-seated frustrations against British rule and the increasing presence of Jewish immigrants. This revolt wasn't just a fight against new arrivals. It was also against the colonial powers pulling the strings. In response, the British proposed cutting up Palestine into separate Jewish and Arab nations. But this was no simple solution. Jewish leaders were split in their response, while Arab leaders outright rejected the idea, demanding a unified land without division.
Following World War II, the world was deeply shaken by the Holocaust. The need for a Jewish state became even more important and urgent. Many felt that the Jewish people should have a safe homeland where they could live without fear. This growing sentiment led to the 1947 UN proposal for a two-state solution in Palestine, aiming to create separate Jewish and Arab states. Jerusalem was to become an international city, given its significance to multiple religions.
Yes, and this proposal created mixed reactions. The Jewish leaders accepted it, seeing it as a necessary step toward establishing their own state. For them, it was a chance to finally have peace and security after so long. On the other hand, Arab leaders rejected it completely. They could not agree to the partition, which they viewed as an unjust division of their land. This stark division in perspectives heightened tensions, setting a stage for open conflict soon.
In 1948, with the official establishment of Israel, conflicts erupted almost immediately. Many neighboring Arab states opposed the newly declared state's existence and launched a war against it. The outcome of the war surprised many, as Israel managed to defend itself and even gained more territory than was originally proposed by the UN. The war's end in 1949 turned original borders into the Green Line, significantly changing the landscape.
Unfortunately, this had dire consequences for Palestinians. Over 700,000 were displaced, becoming refugees without a homeland of their own. This event, known to them as the Nakba, remains a painful memory. Understandably, it fueled further animosity and ensured the conflict would not be resolved quickly. While the borders may have changed, the deep-rooted issues between both communities remained and continue to influence the struggles in the region today.
The War of 1948 marked a significant turning point in the region. It wasn't simply a conflict. It was a moment when Israel managed not only to defend its newfound independence, but also to expand its borders beyond what was initially proposed by the United Nations. This shift more than doubled the size of the territory designated for a Jewish state, incorporating areas like Western Galilee and a part of the Negev. While this might have been seen as a success for the newly formed state of Israel, it led to a devastating outcome for Palestinians.
Indeed, for the Palestinians, the term Nakba, which means catastrophe, captures the impact. About 700,000 Palestinians were forced to leave their homes and became refugees, a crisis that left deep scars and a legacy of loss and yearning for a homeland. The distinction in how land division played out was stark. Israel expanded, while many Palestinians found themselves stateless overnight. These events left a complex legacy, setting a fragile foundation for future conflicts and raising questions about viability and justice in the carving of lands.
Even after the armistice agreements, peace was far from achieved. Israel's control over more land than the UN had originally allocated led to further international scrutiny. The United Nations Resolution 181 outlined specific boundaries, and the perceived overstepping by Israel remained a bone of contention. As Israeli settlements began to grow, tensions simmered not just locally, but across the Middle East. The borders might have changed, but the animosity between communities lingered, unhealed and perhaps even deepened by the division of land.
Tensions truly escalated leading up to 1967, not simply because of border issues, but also due to ongoing skirmishes and unresolved disputes. The closure of the Straits of Tiran brought issues to the foreground. Egypt's actions were seen by Israel as an act of war. The stress of these developments bore heavily on the region, culminating in what we now refer to as the Six-Day War. This war was notable not only for its brevity, but for its outcome. Israel seized control of significant territories, including East Jerusalem and the Golan Heights, redefining the landscape once more.
As we delve into the next chapter, let's examine the Six-Day War, which profoundly changed the Middle East once again. It was in 1967 that tensions which had been simmering finally erupted. Israel launched a series of preemptive strikes, targeting Egyptian airfields, and in a short span, captured significant territories including the Sinai Peninsula, Gaza Strip, West Bank, East Jerusalem, and the Golan Heights. These victories extended Israeli boundaries dramatically, altering the map and intensifying the drive for control among both Israelis and Palestinians.
Those rapid changes indeed created ripples across the region. While Israel expanded its reach, there were substantial consequences for the Arab states and the Palestinian population. The Six-Day War not only showcased Israel's military prowess, but also heightened the desperation of displaced Palestinians. With territories like the West Bank and Gaza now under Israeli control, many Arabs felt the sting of loss more acutely. Nevertheless, this period also paved the way for critical diplomatic efforts, triggering conversations about peace, albeit amid deep-seated mistrust.
The Yom Kippur War of 1973 serves as a notable point of escalation, as Egypt and Syria coordinated surprise attacks against Israel in a bid to regain territory. Caught off guard initially, Israel managed to reclaim lost ground and even advanced into territories within Egypt and Syria. This war, while impactful, led to reevaluation on both sides about the feasibility of continued conflict and the potential for peace. Such desperate engagements underscored the heavy toll of ongoing hostilities and the urgent need for realistic resolutions.
Yes, and out of these tumultuous times emerged a pivotal moment at the Camp David Accords in 1978. These negotiations between Egyptian President Anwar Sadat and Israeli Prime Minister Menachem Begin, facilitated by the United States, marked a breakthrough in Middle Eastern diplomacy. The peace treaty they brokered led to Egypt recognizing Israel and, in return, the Sinai Peninsula was handed back to Egypt. This agreement set a precedent for making peace between old adversaries. Yet it left the broader Palestinian issue largely unresolved, echoing unaddressed hopes for a complete peace.
The dynamics further shifted in 1974 when the Palestine Liberation Organization, or PLO, gained recognition by the Arab League as the sole representative of the Palestinian people. This recognition was significant. It legitimized the PLO on an international scale and underscored the pressing narrative surrounding Palestinian self-determination. Despite controversies and criticisms regarding PLO tactics, the shift signaled a new phase in how Palestinian aspirations were framed on the diplomatic stage, impacting how other nations viewed the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
True, this new recognition provided a platform for the Palestinians to voice their cause more prominently. However, it also intensified tensions with Israel, particularly because of concerns around PLO's earlier actions and their impact on national security. Yet, these developments were incremental steps toward renewed discussions and eventual peace efforts. Even amidst conflict, these shifts pointed to a growing desire for compromise, with the challenge remaining how to address the disparate needs and grievances of both Israelis and Palestinians. Reflecting on what we've discussed, it's clear that the history of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is still being written with every passing day. Both communities have faced hardships and continue to seek solutions for their futures. We invite you, our listeners, to like and subscribe to our podcast. Join us in this dialogue to help shape the future direction of discussions around this region. Your thoughts and comments are valuable to us and contribute to understanding this vital issue.